The US government's potential ban on TikTok has captured the attention of 170 million Americans, who might soon lose access to the platform. Officially, this move is justified by national security concerns, but it raises critical questions about whether it's going to protect data or indicative of a larger geopolitical struggle between the US and China. This situation highlights a growing emphasis on digital sovereignty. The idea that nations must assert control over their digital infrastructure, data, and technology. The TikTok ban is more than just a reaction to a popular social media app. It's a symbol of escalating tensions between two of the world's largest economies, representing a pivotal moment in how nations navigate the digital landscape. To fully understand the TikTok controversy, we must look at the evolving relationship between the United States and China, which has shifted from cooperation to rivalry over several decades. In the late 20th century, these two nations began a partnership that promised mutual economic benefits. The US viewed China as a vast market and a source of affordable manufacturing, while China saw this partnership as a critical step toward modernization and economic growth. However, the dynamics began to change as China's economy expanded at an unprecedented pace. By the early 2000s, China transformed from a primarily agrarian society into an industrial powerhouse. This rapid economic growth, coupled with advancements in technology, challenged the established global order and raised alarms in Washington about America's long-standing economic dominance. The competition between these two superpowers became more pronounced in the 2010s. Trade imbalances, accusations of unfair trade practices, and disputes over intellectual property rights strained the relationship. The US became increasingly wary of China's state-led economic model and its ambitious plans to dominate emerging industries, such as artificial intelligence and 5G technology. In this context, TikTok's meteoric rise mirrors China's broader technological ambitions. Launched in 2016, the app quickly amassed hundreds of millions of users, showcasing China's ability to create and export innovative digital products. For many in the US government, TikTok's success was not merely about social media. It represented China's growing influence and its potential to reshape global norms. As TikTok's user base expanded, so did concerns regarding data security and privacy. The app's data collection practices, while similar to those of other social media platforms, became a focal point for fears that the Chinese government might access user information. These worries were amplified by Chinese national security laws that could compel companies to share data with the government upon request. Push to ban TikTok is thus part of a larger strategy aimed at curbing China's technological influence. It reflects a growing belief in Washington that digital security is national security, emphasizing that maintaining technological superiority is essential for preserving US global dominance. At the heart of the US government's push to ban TikTok is a pervasive fear that the app could serve as a tool for espionage by the Chinese government. These concerns stem from a 2017 Chinese law named the PRC Intelligence Law of 2017 that mandates companies to assist in state intelligence efforts when requested. This vague requirement has fueled speculation about TikTok's obligation to share user data, despite the company's repeated assurances to the contrary. And while we have you here, if you feel like this content is providing you with some value, feel free to subscribe to our channel and like this video. It helps us immensely as we endeavour to continue creating high quality, engaging geopolitical content. Now, back to the stuff that you came here for. TikTok has consistently maintained that its data collection practices align with industry standards. In response to data security concerns, the app launched Project Texas, an initiative designed to store US user data on American soil, overseen by Oracle, a US technology company. This move aims to create a barrier between US user data and potential access by TikTok's Chinese parent company, ByteDance. However, skepticism remains. Reports suggest that the US user data might still be accessible to employees in China, casting doubt on the effectiveness of Project Texas and TikTok's claims of data separation. The situation is further complicated by conflicting narratives. TikTok's CEO has stated publicly that the company would never provide user data to the Chinese government, emphasizing its commitment to user privacy. Yet, a former ByteDance employee alleged that the Chinese Communist Party had accessed TikTok user data to monitor pro-democracy protests, lending credibility to US security concerns. This highlights the challenge of verifying data security claims in an interconnected digital world. The debate over TikTok has thrust the app into a larger legal battleground, raising significant questions about the intersection of national security and constitutional rights. At the core of TikTok's defense is a compelling argument. Banning the app would impose a, quote, staggering impact on free speech for its 170 million US users. TikTok's legal team has mounted a strong defense against the legislation signed by President Biden, arguing that it imposes extraordinary restrictions on speech based on uncertain future risks. TikTok's legal team hopes to frame the ban not merely as a business issue, but as a fundamental threat to Americans' First Amendment rights. The law in question grants ByteDance a 9-month window to divest from TikTok, with a possible extension. However, TikTok contends that this timeline could effectively force a shutdown of its US operations, threatening the livelihoods of millions who rely on the platform for expression, entertainment, and income. This legal battle does not exist in a vacuum. It follows numerous attempts by various US states to restrict TikTok, yielding mixed results. Notably, a federal judge previously blocked a Montana law aimed at banning the app, ruling that it likely violated the First Amendment rights of users. This precedent adds weight to TikTok's current arguments and highlights the intricate legal landscape surrounding social media regulation. The TikTok case has ignited a broader discussion about the role of foreign-owned technology companies in the United States and the implication for digital governance. It raises uncomfortable questions about how far national security concerns can justify restrictions on free speech and access to information. If the ban is upheld, it could set a precedent for future actions against other foreign-owned platforms, leading to a more fragmented and restricted internet. Experts believe this case could reach the US Supreme Court, where justices would need to evaluate the delicate balance between national security interests and constitutional free speech protections. The outcome of such a case could have profound implications for how the US approaches the regulation of global technology companies. The TikTok controversy has acted as a catalyst for broader geopolitical and economic shifts, namely a significant realignment in global supply chains and manufacturing hubs. As tensions between the US and China escalate, we're witnessing a trend towards de-risking the American economy from reliance on Chinese manufacturing. According to a 2021 report from the McKinsey Global Institute, 93% of supply chain executives surveyed indicated that they plan to diversify their supply chains in response to disruptions, including those exacerbated by geopolitical tensions. Additionally, in 2021, about 250,000 manufacturing jobs were reshored, influenced by rising costs in China and the desire for more resilient supply chains. While TikTok's legal battle unfolds, a quiet economic revolution is already underway. India has emerged as a crucial beneficiary of this shift. US exports to India have seen a remarkable 44% increase from 2018 to 2022, totaling $23 billion, while data from the US Census Bureau indicates that the US imports from China fell by 20% from 2018 to 2020. This surge in reshoring and friendshoring to nations like India is no coincidence. It aligns with a deliberate US strategy to diversify supply chains and seek alternatives to Chinese manufacturing. The Indian government has been actively promoting its manufacturing sector through initiatives like the Production-Linked Incentive Scheme, aiming to boost domestic production and attract foreign investment. This strategy positions India as a key partner in the US Indo-Pacific Economic Framework, emphasizing cooperation in technology and defense. However, this transition is not without its challenges. While India offers significant potential as a manufacturing hub, it still faces obstacles in infrastructure and logistics. Experts caution that fully capitalising on this opportunity will require addressing these issues. Nonetheless, the trend is evident. India's role in global manufacturing is on the rise. The effects of this economic realignment are already visible in specific industries. India's electronics exports have tripled from about 7 billion in 2019 to 22 billion in 2023, showcasing the country's growing capabilities in high-tech manufacturing. Major companies are taking notice, with Apple aiming to produce 25% of its iPhones in India by 2025, and FedEx ramping up its operations in the country. This shift has far-reaching implications. For the United States, it presents an opportunity to reduce strategic vulnerabilities and forge new partnerships. For China, it poses as a challenge to its position as the world's manufacturing powerhouse, potentially impacting its economic growth. India stands to gain significantly, accelerating its economic development and increasing its global influence. Other nations are also affected by this trend. Countries in Southeast Asia and Latin America may find new opportunities as companies seek to further diversify their supply chains. This redistribution of manufacturing could lead to a more balanced global economic landscape, reducing the concentration of production in China. The TikTok ban, while focused on digital issues, is accelerating these broader economic trends. It prompts companies to reassess their global strategies, considering not just economic factors, but also geopolitical risks. The TikTok ban represents a pivotal moment in the evolution of digital sovereignty. Nations are increasingly asserting control over their digital domains, raising questions about the future of the internet. Will we see a more fragmented digital landscape, with countries establishing their own version of the internet? Or will there be a push for new international frameworks to govern data flows and digital platforms? This shift towards digital sovereignty is not occurring in isolation. It is part of a broader trend of technological decoupling between major powers, particularly the United States and China. As countries seek to reduce their reliance on foreign technologies, we may see the emergence of parallel digital ecosystems, each with its own standards, platforms, and governance models. Such a development could profoundly impact global innovation, potentially limiting the cross-pollination of ideas and technologies that has driven much of the world's progress. As nations assert control over their digital domains, a new world order is emerging. The TikTok case is more than just a legal dispute. It's a reflection of how we navigate the intersection of technology, governance, and society in the 21st century. It serves as a critical reminder that the decisions we make today will reverberate for generations to come. For a deeper dive into India's role in this geopolitical shift, check out our video, India's Rise to Global Superpower.